Welcome back to What Would Jesus Ask You Today? Now, I'm representing him, so I'm the one presenting the questions. Now, in Luke 5:23, we read, which is easier to say, your sins are forgiven, or to say, get up and walk? Now, the onlookers were scandalized that Jesus forgave the man's sins because they held the correct belief that only God could do that. Since Jesus did it, he was declaring that he was indeed God. Of course, Jesus was and is able to perform both actions, for he forgives sins and heals bodies. But his contemporaries were not convinced he could or should do either. Now, some in the church today would also question his healing role. How about you? Do you go to Jesus for healing? Do you also go for forgiveness? And even if you seek medical help, do you see Jesus as your ultimate source of healing? Have you forgiven yourself since he has forgiven you? Now, if we look at Matthew chapter 8, verses 14 through 17, it says, when Jesus came into Peter's house, he saw Peter's mother-in-law lying in bed with a fever. He touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she got up and began to wait on him. When evening came, many who were demon-possessed were brought to him, and he drove out the spirits with a word and healed all the sick. This was to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet Isaiah. He took up our infirmities and bore our diseases. Isn't that wonderful? Reading Matthew 8 and considering today's question, you realize that Jesus came to heal all your infirmities of the body and of the soul, and I encourage you to allow him to do so. That's it for today. Come on back tomorrow and we'll examine another question.